The Chiefs' defense is garbage. Their defense is one of the worst defenses in the NFL. And when you watched what took place yesterday in Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill, he's not elite. He's not Aaron Rodgers. Okay? He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Justin Herbert. Ryan Tannehill, he completed his first 11 passes against this Chiefs defense. 9 of the Titans' first 17 plays were for first downs. 9 of their first 17 plays were for first downs. And so far this season, these are the Chiefs' defensive ranks in the NFL. Points per game, they're tied for 27th in the NFL. Yards per game, ranked 28th in the NFL. They are ranked 26th in the NFL and passing yards per game giving up. They're ranked 27th in the NFL and rushing yards per game given up. They've given up 29, 36, 30 points twice, 38. Gave up 13 against the Washington football team. They're not very good. And 27 yesterday against the Tennessee Titans. They are terrible. They are terrible. And the Titans got whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted to get it. And the Chiefs secondary, they had no answers for A.J. Brown yesterday. 8 receptions, 133 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, in this game, the Titans completely dominated the Kansas City Chiefs. And defensively, for some reason, defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, he still's playing man coverage. Spagnuolo, your defense is atrocious. Why are you trying to play man coverage against Julio Jones and A.J. Brown? Are you kidding me? They are awful defensively. You don't have the personnel to play man coverage. You need to be playing a zone defense. And it's so crazy because yesterday when you watched the game, Derrick Henry only had 29 carries for 86 rushing yards, and the Titans still were able to dominate the game. If you would have told me before the game that the Chiefs would have held Derrick Henry to under 100 yards rushing in this game, I would have said, oh, the Chiefs have an opportunity to win that game. They got a chance to beat the Titans if they can hold Derrick Henry to under 100 yards rushing. But they had no answers for Ryan Tannehill. They made Ryan Tannehill look like he is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL yesterday. 21 of 27, 270 passing yards. I mean, he was absolutely dominant in this game, completing 77% of his passes. That was Ryan Tannehill yesterday. So the issue with the Kansas City Chiefs overall, they're turning the ball over offensively. And when you have a bad defense that can't stop the run, that can't stop the pass, and they give up touchdowns instead of field goals when teams get in the red zone, that is why you have the Kansas City Chiefs right now last in the AFC West, sitting at 3-4 on the season. Offensively, they're turning the ball over at a very, very high rate right now, and they're putting their defense back on the field, and their defense isn't very good to begin with. They aren't very good to begin with. So when opposing teams bring their offense back to the field, going up against this garbage defense in the Kansas City Chiefs, that's why you see the Chiefs struggling the way that they are right now. And defensively, they have no talent. I mean, besides Chris Jones and Honey Badger, who on this defense can make plays? They moved Chris Jones, to defensive end. Although he didn't play in the matchup yesterday against the Titans, but they moved him to defensive end to start the season. and he hasn't been very effective. He was much better at defensive tackle than he has been at defensive end. But no one is making plays right now for this Chiefs defense. Frank Clark, I remember him. He, at one point in his career, played with the Seattle Seahawks and was a pretty good pass rusher. Since he's been with the Kansas City Chiefs, he hasn't been very good. And he's not making plays for this Chiefs defense. Yesterday, Clark, he had 2 tackles for the afternoon, not very good. So besides Honey Badger and Chris Jones, the Chiefs defense, they're not very good in the talent department.